Alright, so in this video, I'm gonna be explaining 4 case studies in dealing with supervisors. For example, if this is a student, there are many sources that affects and creates the stress and burnout in the students. One of them could be, for example, noisy neighbors in their accommodation. It could be anything, their personal problems. But one of them that is the focus of this lecture is their supervisors. So stress negatively affects focus and problem solving, their sleep, physical and mental health, decision making in life. But your health is more important than any project or PhD or anything. So be prepared. Learn to prepare to-do list of the next day before you go home. Okay, so before you leave your university, because every day you go to university and work there in a quiet room or in the library, but before you leave, you should create a to-do list of the next day. Because if you come in morning, if you want to think about what you should do, you don't remember what you have done in the previous day. But if you have recorded and write it down in somewhere, then it comes to your memory very quickly, and you understand. You track your the path that you have initiated in the previous day, and you don't you don't waste time, you don't procrastinate. So it's a defense mechanism for procrastination. And always, if you have I've worked in software, in a software company as a data scientist in Malaysia. And so, we have, in any software company, you have two important things. What is importance, what is urgent. And when it is more urgent, so if it is more urgent, it's very urgent, it is very important, you should do it now. And this is the things that you should put it in your to-do list. It should have a priority. So you should do it first. And you don't need to write lots of to-do lists, because each day has its own significance. So in Bible, book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 34, therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow. You mean tomorrow? It means the next week, it could be next month, next year. Don't worry about it. Just write down the to-do list for tomorrow before you go home. Because sufficient for the day, your brain has limited capacity. It cannot tolerate all kinds of problems. It cannot think simultaneously about all problems in your PhD every day that you want to leave school and go to home and sleep. So only focus on to-do list of the next day. It's a good defense mechanism for procrastination, because the next day you just start very quickly with no delay. So he's the kindest and most popular supervisor in the world, with biggest followers on the planet Earth. So it's a hint. He also invented the concept of follower. You say follower in YouTube, Instagram, and those things. So the answer is, his name is Jesus Christ. So a perfect supervisor like this man, he could be a CTO, he could be a supervisor in university. He tries to help students or software developers in a company or students in university, helps them grow by saying, if you do this, then you can grow faster. If you do this, then you can avoid some obstacles. So he tries to help you. So always see him as a person that is helping you, not a person that is against you or bothering you. He's not bothering you, he's just helping you. And on the left, you see Jesus Christ that is helping this sheep. The sheep represents a person that doesn't know what to do in life, for example, how to behave, how to do a PhD. So every healthy person knows self-love. The reason that I say self-love is important, because in Bible, book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 37, it says, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. So, because your neighbor could be your university supervisors, your classmates, colleagues, a poor person in the street, for example, if you walk in Bukit Bintang in Kuala Lumpur, your girlfriend. So it's a very applied thing, your neighbor. So you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So if you just substitute it for if you have, for example, 3 supervisors, then you can compute, just write the name, fill in the blank. Write the name of your supervisor, and you understand that you should always understand the situation of your supervisor. Because when our first case study is when your supervisor is tired. For example, the supervisor may say, why don't you listen to me? I told you 100 times about research questions, research objectives. There should be novel. There should not be too much. There shouldn't be very few of them. You should map research objectives to research questions. So, but you are not listening. Why don't you listen to me? I won't repeat it if you don't listen. So, but the student with stress management skills says, sorry, doctor, or anything. You're right. You have talked about it many times. I should have thought about it more carefully. So, but student with no stress management skills would say, for example, oh, this world is full of suffering and wars and racism. Professors are not kind. I hate university. I want to quit. Companies are very friendly. I want to go back to software industry because it's more interesting, more friendly. So, but here the student with the stress management knows that how to understand that his supervisor or her supervisor could be tired of, because they usually have lots of classes, they should prepare lots of things, they have many responsibilities that you don't imagine. One day you become a supervisor and you will understand the pressure that are on these supervisors, and you can have compassionate with them and you understand their situation, so you don't get offended and you understand their situation. You don't take their sentences, especially when they are tired. You don't take it personally, so it's very important to understand. So, my supervisor has many classes on Fridays and she's very tired. I wouldn't bother her more by asking too many questions. I should tell her that I have no other issue to talk so that she can finish the meeting earlier. So it's about understanding. We love our supervisor like ourselves. You don't bother yourself, so you shouldn't bother your supervisor because it's a commandment. We love our neighbors. So we understand her or his situation today, and we don't take her sentences personally. The second case study I want to talk is when your supervisor loves some research area that you hate. For example, your supervisor said, you must also compare it with large language models like in context learning ChatGPT to see if your model is better. You should do it because they accept these papers that use LLM. It is like a fashion, publish. Students with stress management skills would say, okay, I wish I had time to work on large language models, but that would waste my time. Since my time is limited, as it might be, look at the words that he uses. It might be very politely, very beautifully. It might be a good idea to compare the one score of my model to the articles that have already used LLM for this task. But a student with no stress management skills would say, oh, this world is full of suffering and hype. I hate university. I hate large language models. Human brain does not use LLM. I want to quit academics forever. Even Professor Jan LeCun beautifully said that human brain is not just a print function, that these people are just every day they talk about ChatGPT and those things. Human brain has lots of components that they work together like a microservice. They have collaboration. This is your brain. So it's not reduced to just a print function as you do in ChatGPT. So this research area. But student with stress management says, okay, it might be a good idea. So he respects his supervisor. At the same time, he is arguing that, okay, it may waste his time because he's working on, he has lots of research questions and research objective, and there are some papers that have done this, so why not compare with the state of the art? Even the state of the art may not be LLM, so it's a good justification. And because your supervisor is a reasonable person, they understand it. They have high IQ. They understand your argument. You know, the aim, if you know Socratic methods, you say some thesis, your supervisor says some antithesis, but there is a synthesis, they call it synthesis, that is higher than thesis and antithesis, that combines the idea of your soul and your supervisor. Is better than both of these ideas. Always try to reach the synthesis state, because this is the aim of conversation. Otherwise, there is no point in gathering, in supervisor meeting, and those things. So always try to reach a higher level. So case studies 3 is that identify to-do list for your next meeting. As I said, what are you going to do for your next meeting? Students with stress management skills says, in my to-do list, I have written that I should create adjacency matrix of the graph neural network and implement it in Python. So he already knows. The next day he will not procrastinate, because even when he wants to get up from the bed, he knows at that moment what he should do that day. But the student with no stress management, they are not prepared. Oh, I still don't know, I'm still figuring out. So the next case study is bravely and kindly defend your to-do list if you still find it urgent and important despite your supervisor's suggestion. For example, your supervisor said you must work on your research objective in parallel like other PhD students. But a student with stress management skills says, since my objectives are like a pipeline and they have sequential dependencies, it means that if I don't finish this, then I cannot finish the next one and the next one. So there is a sequential dependencies. It is not possible to do them in parallel in my case, so I should first develop my baseline, which is also a novel idea, to implement the baseline. So now you're narrowing down in your conversation. In my to-do list, I have written that I should create adjacency matrix of graph neural network and implement it in PyTorch. This is a very good answer. But the student with no stress management skills says, oh, I still don't know, I'm still figuring out, let me procrastinate. Or get embarrassed, or get offended, or confused, and those things.